News and Talk 1380 WAOK, an Odyssey station.
Welcome back to The Mental Space with Sean Garvey. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Don't forget to download the Odyssey app and look for News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Sean Garvey rocking out with you until 9 p.m. And please hold all phone calls. This is a pre-tape interview. Once upon a time, there was a woman of influence that walked down the halls of what used to be CBS Radio at the time and our sister station V103, and she joined her big brother, a very familiar voice on the radio in the mornings. And they spent a lot of time together on the air, giving their audience, giving their family news, information, entertainment, celebrity interviews, so much more, so many things happening in the community, in the ATL. And then one day, this happened.
And Rashan Ali,
Yes.
I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay. God is leading me into a new direction. And today is my last day at V103. And this has been something that I've been toiling with for quite some time. Whether I wanted to remain in radio or really go after my passion, which is television and acting. I have a children's book that I'm working on. Of course, we all know about Sporty Girls if you have followed me and my career. But I have to exit to do my kingdom building on a grander scale and with a larger voice.
Representing the ATL and the east side of Decatur. What's happening? Okay, here we go. It's the Cool Soror Podcast, hosted by me, Rashan Ali.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Cool Soror Podcast. I am your host, Rashan Ali. Well, on this show, we get to interview amazing women in Black Greek letter organizations, and we also interview the cool bros. But today, I'm completely enamored of this woman. Since I was, we'll talk about why. And once you see her, you're like, oh, I get why she's been enamored of her since like she was a kid. But I'm so very grateful that Keisha Knight Pulliam is here to grace us with her presence on the Cool Soror Show. Hello, Keisha.
Hello. I wore my HBCU hoodie, and then you came out fancy schmancy.
It's fine.
But, I do have my red lip on.
You do have your red lip on, and because you are a Cool Soror, what sorority?
Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, 8 Kappa chapter.
Yes, listen, HK is nothing to be played with. They are, the cream with the crop. Listen, Spellman will let you know what it is.
Yeah, Spellman plays no games.
Absolutely
no games.
None.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely none.
Speaking of HBCU, that is tonight's topic. HBCU, the Greek life and mental health. Joining with me, multimedia personality, actor, author, and philanthropist from Decatur, where is greater, Rashan Ali.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, welcome to the mental space.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Did you like that? Did you like
did.
that little timeline?
Yeah, you took it all the way back, and then you took it all the way forward. I said, okay, that's research.
Absolutely. I never seen anybody. I'm from the ATL, from Southside. Okay. And I never seen anybody rep Decatur so hard like you do.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's it's who I am. The great thing about being able to rep Atlanta and Decatur is I was actually born in Atlanta at Crawford Lawn, which is now Emory Midtown. I had both of my children there. But I was born in Atlanta and then raised in Decatur. So I get to rep the ATL, but definitely rep Decatur. And whenever I get my big award on international television, the East Side will definitely be represented. Yeah. I don't know. It's just who I am. Much like Shamia in the mornings here on the sister station with Big Tigger. I mean, she reps the East Side. We went to the same high school, so I don't know. It's just kind of something that is embedded in who we are, and so we take it with us wherever we go.
Absolutely. I'm from Southside, right? Born in Georgia Baptist Hospital.
Okay.
And I went to Cedar Grove High School, Indicator. Well, before that, I went to Chapel Hill, and then I went to Cedar Grove. So I got a little bit of Decatur. I got a little bit of East Side.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, absolutely. Cedar Grove's doing their thing in the high school football playoffs too. So
yeah. A lot going on in HBCU. It's a lot to unpack that we're going to talk about on tonight's show, The Mental Space. Being that you are an HBCU alumni and you rep HBCU hard, just as much you represent Decatur.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's a lot of things that I want our listeners to be educated on, because this is a conversation that no one has never had in the history of radio. We hear about mental health a lot, right? And we also hear so much about HBCU. This has been one heck of a week.
Yes, it
for
has.
HBCU. Sunday, Founders Day. Shout out to the people that celebrated Founders Day.
Alpha Phi Alpha.
What did that look like for you on Founders Day this past Sunday?
Oh, I mean, I just celebrated. I mean, I did social media. I mean, those are our brothers, Alpha Phi Alpha, founded December 4th, 1906 on the campus of Cornell. And just celebrated via social media. I was relaxing yesterday.
Chilling.
So, yeah, just showed them some love, especially the Beta Nu chapter. I went to Florida A&M University, so I got love for my Beta Nu bros, particularly because, we spent so much time together when I was at FAMU. So, just showing them love across the board and through my brand, the Cool Soror Podcast and brand. So, just made sure that, which we do for each Black Greek letter organizations during their Founders Days, and just what we do as a platform, just celebrating the success stories and the things that we are continuing to do in the community since our inception.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Congratulations on your new podcast.
It's not new. It's really not new.
It's not new.
I did was I relaunched it. So I started in 2016.
Okay.
But I relaunched it. I rebranded it and started doing the video portion of the video part of the podcast earlier in 2021. So it seems brand new to a lot of people, but I've been around for a while.
That is nice. That is nice. And it's amazing to see the number of people who have came on your podcast thus far, having conversations and in-depth conversations. But we'll get into that. The importance of HBCU. I want to start off by talking about that. Did you ever want it at first? Did you ever want it to attend an HBCU at first?
Oh, I always did. There was no other choice. My parents went to Delaware State University, which is an HBCU as well. So all we knew growing up was the importance of HBCUs and the foundation that they give so many Black students. So there was no other way for me to even think about going to a PWI. My parents said, hey, you can go there if you want to get your master's, but in this house, you will attend an HBCU. And I wanted to, because I would go through my parents' photo albums and see them. Both of my parents are in Black Greek letter organizations. My mom is my Soror, my dad is in Omega. So seeing their pictures and just all the things that they did on campus back when photo albums were a thing, and seeing that influence. And then growing up in the era of The Cosby Show and A Different World, being able to see that every single Thursday was something that continued to pique my interest. And then visiting schools. I went on HBCU tours in the 10th grade and going down to FAMU's homecoming. And my brother went to Tennessee State. So there was no other way for me than an HBCU. I applied and was accepted to Jackson State, North Carolina A&T, Tennessee State, and FAMU. And it came down to FAMU, got an academic and a swimming scholarship. So that's HBCU was always the first choice.
Yes, and one of the things I love about Atlanta is AUC. When people think of AUC, you think of Spelman, Morehouse, Clark Atlanta,
Morris Brown,
of course, those four universities. And so what do you want people to know about HBCUs, especially the parents that never sent their children to an HBCU? What do you want them to know?
I mean, it's the best experience that I think that I have had in a 4-year span. It changed my life. It changed my life in ways that I'm not sure would have been changed or touched had I gone anywhere else. But I don't know that experience. All I know is what it did for me. It gave me a greater appreciation for all types of people and all folks from all types of socioeconomic backgrounds, particularly Black folks. I'm from a middle-class area in Decatur, Georgia, but I was able to see upper-class Black folks from Detroit and also, folks that were just there on a wing and a prayer, and be able to learn from each section of Black people. The level of love that I receive from my professors, and the level of love that I receive from FAMU students, not only as an undergraduate, but then after you graduate, that is when you realize what you endured and what you went through and the experience you had, because it is lifelong. I could call on any FAMUan to this day for anything that I need, and it will be done. I know that full well.
Yeah.
And because I've experienced it and I live it. I literally was talking to a FAMUan. He just called me. My freshman brother literally just called me just now. Alan Williams, and he's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Like, I have friends, have lifelong friendships that were cultivated on the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee, Florida. I have zero regrets. Zero.
Nice. Yeah. Rashan Ali, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the Mental Space. I'm going to need a couch. I'm not going to just need a chair, but I need a couch because I went to my therapist, and we'll talk more about this coming back from the break, because I spoke very candidly about how not going to an HBCU affected my mental health. So I'm going to share that testimony with you. We're going to unpack that, okay? Rashan Ali, multimedia personality, actor, author, and philanthropist, in the studio with Sean Garvey, HBCU, Greek life, and mental health. Let's talk about it. Right here on the Mental Space, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with more conversation right here on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Welcome back to the Mental Space. Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Still in the studio with Rashan Ali. And once again, as a reminder, please hold all phone calls. This is a pre-taped interview with Rashan Ali, multimedia personality, actor, philanthropist, and author. We're talking about HBCU, Greek life, and mental health. We were talking a little bit off the air, and I was looking into your background. You've been doing radio and TV since 2002?
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I started in radio in 2002, Radio Free Georgia. That's where I started out as a volunteer.
Okay.
And then worked my way up. So I find it interesting that we started the same year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2002. I had an opportunity with, a really huge and popular personality here in the city. We did it. He did a contest, American Idol style. I mean, I have a degree in broadcast journalism, but I went out for the contest and won. So, generally you don't start off in this market as a new personality.
Yeah.
And so I started off in a top 10 market and was able to maintain throughout the years and through all the changes. So I've never worked in another market as far as radio. I'd never had to leave, which is a blessing. So so that was in 2002, and I've been on a few stations here in the ATL. But my last morning show, I stayed there until about 2014, I think, and then I've just done fill-in ever since then. But, from there I went on to HLN. And I mean, I've got a very extensive background in television. But television was always the long goal, no matter what. So, but I believe that radio has given me a beautiful foundation for everything that I do in my life, from the ups and downs of the business and the growth of the art. So, which has, I think, made me better in totality as a talent, because I dealt with so much in radio. Yeah. It
don't even seem that long ago. To me, it seemed like 2002 was yesterday.
Yeah, I know, right?
Time goes by so quick when you're working in this profession.
Yeah.
HBCU, Greek life, and mental health. So let's talk about it. I went to go see my therapist last year, and I brought my mother along. And during our session, I was talking to my therapist and my mom about how not attending an HBCU affected my mental health later on. I didn't think anything about it when I was a teenager or as a young adult. I know that I came from a household where my mom just wanted me to go to college. She didn't care about what college I went to. She just wanted me to go to college. But I felt that she didn't advocate enough for me to go to an HBCU. And I do have some family members and a lot of people in my circle that have went to an HBCU. And then there were times where I felt very left out, that I did not go to an HBCU. I didn't get certain jobs because I didn't go to a certain type of university. I wasn't accepted in a certain type of circle because I didn't go to this particular HBCU college. And it had an effect on my mental health. Have you ever came across people that shared the same testimony that I just shared to you, that, you know what, I regret not going to an HBCU?
I hear it all the time. I hear it all the time for people that, I wouldn't say in my immediate circle, because most of the people in my immediate circle all went to historically black college or university. So I have heard people say that, man, the way y'all love y'all school, y'all make me regret not going to an HBCU. I hear it all the time, especially around homecoming season. And they see the number of alum that go back and support and literally have a party for 4 days at their school, like I did back in October when I went to FAMU's homecoming. I go every year because it's a big hug, it's a big smile, it's a big spiritual upliftment that you receive. It's a recharge for many of us who go back to see some folks we went to school with, and just to be back on the campus, because we know how much the campus and that experience changed our lives. Now, from a mental health perspective, I don't know anyone else whose mental health was affected by not going to an HBCU, but I do hear a lot of people who have decided to go elsewhere when they see us gathering, they see the love, and they see the support that we get from one another. They say, man, I wish I would have chosen differently.
Yeah, because I felt so depressed at times that I missed out on going to an HBCU. I don't regret the school that I attended instead, but I felt I missed out on the experience, right? And before I came here to WAOK, I went to the campus of Clark Atlanta University to volunteer at their jazz station. And when I set foot on their stomping grounds, CAU, Clark Atlanta University, to go volunteer at that jazz station, I felt a sense of pride that particular moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, even though I wasn't a student.
Yeah, but you can still have pride in the HBCUs that, you visit. I mean, there's a lot of people that go to different people's homecomings to get that feeling. So, if you ever want to get that feeling, just hit up a homecoming. Spellhouse is always fantastic. And even though you didn't go there, I know a lot of people, we go there and I didn't go there, but I feel like once you have attended an HBCU, the doors are open to everybody's homecoming and gatherings. Like we do a homecoming tour because it's the level of beautiful black people, progressive black people, professional, turned up at the same time. It's just it's a beautiful thing.
There are kids out there that wanted to. I'm just going to flip the script for a moment. There are kids out there, young kids, young teens, that wanted to go to an HBCU, right? But their parents tell them, no, you're not going to an HBCU.
Yeah,
you're going to a PWI. You remember that movie ATL? Yeah, yes. Where Nunu's parents didn't want her to go to Spelman.
Right.
They wanted her to go to a PWI.
Yeah, I mean, and people have their reasonings because they feel like, well, you have a better opportunity for jobs if you have a PWI on your resume and these experiences that you have, and to each their own. That's that. If you want that, I mean, I have an associate who doesn't even think about allowing her children to apply to an HBCU, but that's on her and that's on them. And to each his own. To each his own.
To each his own.
And I'm encouraging my children. I have 15. She just turned 16 this past weekend. 16-year-old and 13-year-old. All we have been talking about is HBCU. She is interested in one PWI, and it's not like we're not going to allow her to go visit and explore because it's her life. But she knows where we stand when it comes to the experience, not just the education. It's the whole experience of an HBCU. It's not just education.
Yeah.
It's growing up as a young woman in a black space, in a safe space where for the one to few times in your life where you are the majority. So you feel the love So it's this little microcosm of life, but it makes such an indelible impact on your life.
Yeah.
So that you can go out in the world and be prepared. I was prepared by attending an HBCU for life.
That's just what it is, man. Yeah. Rashan Ali, mental space. Sean Garvey. Speaking of mental health, I've also heard people say that people before they went to an HBCU, they either went to a private school or an all-white school, and they felt very like an outsider. They felt very outside-ish. They felt traumatized at times that they weren't around their black peers during their years in school before college. But then when they went to an HBCU, they felt,
right,
I can breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. And I've seen that. I mean, you have folks that come in your freshman class and this is their first time even being around black people.
Yeah.
And you see the impact that it makes on their lives. I mean, they literally have never been in a space where the majority of their own people were their people. So it either can, be detrimental, but most times what I've seen has been beneficial to their lives. And the fact that they were able to, be able to go to, during their formative years, be able to go to predominantly white institutions and go to a black college or university, and they get the best of both worlds, knowing how to navigate both. I mean, my elementary school experience and back then it was kindergarten to 7th, it was predominantly white, and I'm glad that I got that experience. So, but high school and college was blackity black. So, but it did not deter me from my success.
Yeah.
At all. I think it has been more beneficial because of those experiences.
Yeah. And it does something to your mental health, too, by going to an HBCU, because, like I said, it's a sense of pride that you get from an HBCU, right? And I've been around a lot of people. Like I said, my network of people are HBCU grad students, and they get that sense of pride. They know themselves. They, even when homecoming comes, they, like you said, they turned up.
Yeah. It's a whole situation. Outfits, events. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a whole thing. I get there on Thursday morning, and I don't leave until Sunday morning every year.
Yeah. Wow. Rashan Ali in the studio. Let's do this. Let's take another break, Rashan, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Greek life.
Okay.
We want to talk about Greek life, how that affects mental health. We hear some of the stories with sororities, with fraternities, and HBCUs. Let's talk about the pros and the cons and the meaning behind Greek life. We're going to educate some people today that did not go to an HBCU.
Try. I don't have all the answers, but I'll try.
Rashan, you don't have all the answers.
I don't.
All right, it's The Mental Space with Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Rashan Ali still hanging out with me right here on The Mental Space, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. We're talking about HBCU, Greek life, and mental health. For those that do not know, what is Greek life, Rashan Ali?
I mean, I'm not sure if I have a real definition, but I mean, it is the Divine Nine. It's 9 organizations founded, all of us primarily founded on the principles of service and an opportunity to like minds to come together and be of service to those around us, and also uplift ourselves at the same time to be better people in this space. The first organization, fraternity, was Alpha Phi Alpha in 1906 at Cornell, and many of the organizations in the Divine Nine were founded because we weren't given the opportunity to become a part of Greek letter organizations on our campuses or clubs or for anything on college campuses at the time, or be a part of what men may have already established on college campuses. So we created our own. And with that, you have 9 organizations that do different things in the community, but everything is rooted in service. I mean, of course, the the other things, those ancillary things that come with it, with the stepping and the, other things that come with chanting and strolling and that thing, that makes it very fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a member of the first Black Greek letter sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, founded in 1908 on the campus of Howard University since 1995. So I'm coming up on my 28th year as a member of AKA.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. And so, but I have a love for each and every organization. Sometimes people like to pinpoint the divisiveness that has occurred over the years. But one of the reasons why I created my brand, the Cool Soror Podcast, the Cool Soror brand, is because I feel like, there's so many cool people in each of our organizations. So why not highlight their stories and highlight their journeys, and let that the thing that combines us or just allows us to come together is that we are all a part of the D9. I enjoy being an AKA. I love all of my Delta sisters, Zeta sisters, Sigma Gamma Rho, all my brothers. I am just that, and which is why I created my brand, because I wanted it to be something that brought us together.
Yeah. Let's talk about the podcast. I had an opportunity to watch some of the episodes from the Cool Soror Podcast, and what I love about it is it separates itself from what everybody else is doing, and shows that highlights people a part of those organizations that you mentioned, and it provides a safe space, like you just said, for people to share their stories on their participation in the Greek life. What are the pros, like from your experiences of being a part of a huge, iconic organization? Like, what are your experiences? What are your fondest experiences of being a part of it?
I mean, that could be, I could be here all day talking about the my best experiences. But I have sorors who I met as an 18-year-old who are literally still in my life to this day, and are some of my dearest friends and dearest sisters. But that's not to say I don't have the same for my sisters in Delta Sigma Theta. So there's obviously going to be some pros of the sisterhood and the service and the scholarship and the things that we do. But of course, a lot of people think that we're elitist organizations. And why did you separate yourselves from Black people? And then why did you all divide up and then have different organizations when we're all fighting for the same thing? So a lot of people are going to say that. And I totally understand that as well. But again, I think the name of this episode is to each his own, because you decide what you want to do, and hopefully your experience will be something that you want to carry on. And with Black Greek letter organizations, we don't just pledge a sorority or fraternity in college and it's over. Much like our other brothers and sisters who do that in college, namely, white fraternities and fraternities and sororities. It's literally, I'll hear a lot of people say, "Oh, you're an AKA? Oh, I was in a sorority in college." So it's something that they do just in college. Ours is lifelong. You go through your undergraduate experience, you join an undergraduate, and then you transfer to a graduate chapter. And some people wait to initiate when they're once they graduated from undergraduate and become AKAs or become members of Black Greek letter organizations on the graduate level. But it's lifelong. It's a lifelong commitment.
It's a lifelong commitment. Yeah, sisterhood and brotherhood.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
Talk to me about I guess you could say, like, going into the real world, right? For a brother, for a young sister, and going into the real world and trying to get a job, trying to get a career, right? And talk to me about what does that look like of a person who is a part of that lifelong commitment, like you just stated, being a part of that organization or that family. What does that look like for the person, the young grad, the young Black boy, the young Black girl coming out of an HBCU and going into the real world to find a job? What does that look like?
Well, I think what's advantageous about being a part of a Black Greek letter organization when it comes to job search, a lot of times when folks put their stuff up on LinkedIn or Facebook, or if you go into an interview or you submit, you may find someone who's on the other side that, oh, I see she went to Florida A&M University and she's an AKA. And somebody on the other side might be who's responsible for hiring you or potentially hiring you. Oh, she's a Zeta who went to Spelman. That is going to be something that Zeta is going to pick up automatically. That's going to be a conversation piece. And hopefully the person who's being interviewed says, oh, I researched this person. She's a Zeta who went to Spelman. There's a connection there because you're both in black Greek, blah, blah, blah. You're both in black Greek letter organizations and you both went to HBCUs. That's a conversation piece. And there's also the commonality of like, okay, she was in a similar space as me. She did similar things as me. So that's going to give her at least a little one leg up. And it goes with the black Greek letter organizations for men as well, for the fraternities. It goes that way as well. So whether it's an HBCU, if you are, in the D9 or not, but if you went to an HBCU and somebody else went to the HBCU, they're going to see that first.
Yeah. Ooh.
I promise you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. They're going to see that. And I've been told that. I've been told that when you go in for an interview or like you said, upload your resume on LinkedIn, somebody on the inside will see that. They will see that.
Wow. And it's going to be, you might get, let me pull this resume. Just because of that piece. And it goes for PWIs as well. I'm sure if somebody went to Yale and there's another black person that went to Yale or Stanford or whatever, it's the same thing.
But see, that's why I want to have this conversation with you, Rashan Ali, because it's a lot of parents. Like I said, I come from a household where my mom just wanted me to go to college. And some people have this misconception, or they think parents, they have this thing where if they just send their child to college, don't matter where they're going to, all they need is a bachelor's degree and they're good. They can come back with a bachelor's degree and an associate's degree, just something on their resume. But they don't know that employers, they look more into, okay, what school did you go to? What college did you attend to? Those are one of the things that they also look at as well.
Yeah, I mean, they do, but I just believe in this life and the things that I've been able to accomplish and overcome throughout my journey is that whatever is for you will never miss you. I literally live by that. Whatever is for you will never miss you. So if you're supposed to have an opportunity that changes the trajectory of your life, then you're supposed to have that opportunity. Can you set yourself up? Yes, to be in a space where you show up in a way that is impressive, obviously. But again, whatever is for you will never miss you.
What do you have to say, and we're coming up on a break, what do you have to say to parents that are skeptical about sending their kids to an HBCU or just to college, period, because they hear the hazing stories. They hear what also goes on at these college campuses, at these HBCUs, whenever their son or daughter is inducted into an organization. What do you have to say to those parents?
Well, I mean, I think you have to do your research and you have to have open conversations with your children. I think that's what it's all about. Tell them what is right and what is wrong. And also just talk to other people who are in these organizations as well. I mean, we have over 300,000. The Deltas have over 300,000 members. The Zetas are probably right at 200,000. And the Sigma Gamma Rhos are like 150, 160. There's a lot of people you could talk to, you know what I mean, about their experience. And also there's so much research on each of our organizations online, people that you can contact when if your daughter or son is interested, just to get more information. And I think being open and candid about what could happen or what you will not participate in. But again, all of our organizations do not condone hazing. It is a federal offense. So if you participate, then you will disqualify yourself from ever being a part of an organization that you're interested in. So it's about the research. Not everybody's going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that everybody's all perfect out here because it's just not. But if you do your research, there's too many people. There's too much information out there for you to do the wrong thing.
Yes, I'm glad you put that out there because hazing does affect one's mental health.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I've heard stories. I mean, we've heard stories in the past, even news stories about young African-American teen or young adult at the time who was participating in a hazing incident that went wrong, and he ended up dead.
Yeah.
We hear horrific stories, but like you said, you have to do the research and also hold people accountable as well too.
Yeah, and then again, having those conversations with your child, and with he or she having conversations with responsible peers, like what road not to go down.
Yeah.
That's very important as well.
Yeah, because if I have a son or a daughter, and I sent my son or daughter to an HBCU, I don't want them to come back home and tell me the stories that they had to go through while they are trying to get recruited in college and stuff. And I'm like, baby or son, like, why are you participating in this?
Right, but I don't want us to go too far down that road, because we do great work.
Yes.
We do amazing work, and there are going to be bad apples in any situation, whether it's a corporate America, whether it's an entrepreneur, and all businesses and organization. It is a business, so there are going to be bad apples. But let me tell you, the good apples and the good fruit that we have all been able to grow and sow seeds into our communities are much more beautiful, and they flourish much greater than the bad seeds and the bad news. Our organizations do amazing work. In each of our programs, we do outstanding work. And I want to make sure that we highlight that, because that is what we are all about. And I don't want anything, as far as hazing and the things that may have happened in the past. And some things may still continue to happen, but those are very isolated events that overshadow the great work that we've been doing for over 100 years.
Yeah, indeed. And this is why WAOK is very important, too, because we brought in so many people from HBCU speaking out about it, speaking against those type of things, and also raising the awareness of the importance of what it is to be an HBCU student.
Yes.
Morris Brown, Spelman, Morehouse, Clark, you name it. They were all here at WAOK.
Good. That's fantastic. That's what it's all about. That's why this station has been so important to this community for so long.
Shout out to Joyce Littell, by the way, an HBCU alumni.
That's
also.
my soror.
Yeah. Derek Bozeman.
Yeah.
We can go on and on and on.
Absolutely.
Rashan Ali in the studio, The Mental Space with Sean Garvey. Before you get up out of here, Rashan Ali, Cool Soror Podcast, by the way, make sure y'all check it out.
Yes.
I gotta ask you, because we're still on the subject of HBCU and mental health. Of course, the news is on your boy.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders, Coach Prime.
Yeah.
Under a lot of heat. Black Twitter reacts to Coach Deion Sanders for leaving Jackson State University for Colorado. A lot of mixed feelings about it, but a lot of people are disappointed in that move. And we had conversations about it here on WAOK, especially people who are of the HBCU world. Yeah. And you being of HBCU, and you got wind, and also you reported sports as well,
I'm a
too.
Sports girl, yes.
What would that conversation be like if you was to have Deion Sanders in the studio with you? What would that conversation be like? Would you be like, Coach Prime, what's up, bro?
Well, I mean, I see both sides. I see what people are saying. When I first heard the news and the rumors that it was about to happen, I was like, oh, please don't leave, Coach Prime. Please don't leave. It's too soon, because he was able to do so much for Jackson State and HBCUs in general. But let me say this. I have a brand extension called HBCUs Been Cool. And this was before Coach Prime, and this is before everything that happened during 2020 to bring more awareness to HBCUs and black people in general. We have been doing our thing for a very, very long time. And so many people in this country who have gone to historically black colleges and universities are very, very successful. So let's get that out of the way, that Coach Prime was our savior. We've been good. We've been cool. Now, I want people to have this type of energy with Brett Favre, who has allegedly stolen money from the state of Mississippi and done the unthinkable. That has been swept under the rug, okay? Have that same energy for the community that was affected by that. Do your research on that. Just Google Brett Favre and Mississippi.
and what he did. Regarding Deion, most people in America, if they got a job opportunity, they were making $300,000 at one job and got offered $5 million at another.
Okay.
Doing a similar thing in a different environment, would take that job. Because it was Deion and black people, we have the propensity to put ourselves on a standard or place ourselves on a pedestal that we can't do certain things. We don't know what Deion's goals are. Deion probably said, I'm going to go to an HBCU, change that HBCU.
Right.
Then go to another school, change that school. And then I'm going to go to the SEC or ACC. That is my long goal. We don't know what his goals are.
We don't know. We just assume.
We just assume. I would have loved to have seen him go 5 years, 7 years at Jackson State.
Yeah.
But when white coaches do it, this is not a big of an uproar.
Yeah.
Nick Saban has done it. Urban Meyer has done it. You name a successful white coach in college football, they have jumped around. Period. But because Deion did it, it's blasphemous.
Wow. Wow.
We have to have perspective. I get it. I understand. I'm an HBCU. I wanted him to stay. I did want him to stay. But everybody plays the game in college football. It's a big game, especially with NIL now and all these things going on. Let's not get things misconstrued, guys.
Yeah, it's a business.
It's a business.
I think we forget at times, Rashan, that it is a business, and we act off of emotions, right?
Of course.
Once again, this is why a show like The Mental Space is needed.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing people having headaches on social media, going back and forth with other people about
I'm
this
not getting
Deion.
into that. I'm not getting into that conversation. And I'm glad this is pre-recorded. I don't want nobody coming at me.
What did your boy say? He said that social media is the devil.
Oh yeah. Sometimes it can be. It's just a lot. It's good. It can be great to further your brand and all those things in a positive light. But it's like all this conversation, I'm like, oh, y'all giving me a headache. Because guess who's not thinking about none of y'all? Deion.
Coach Prime.
When has Deion ever cared about what people thought about him? He's not cared since he was at Florida State, and even prior to that, with his Jerry curl and his big rings, and then he gets into the league and plays for the Falcons, and then plays for the Braves, and all these different things. He has always done things his way.
Yeah.
So anything that anybody says has never mattered to him.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
And it ain't gonna change now.
Yeah. I mean, people calling him a sellout, and I mean, it's like the same thing with Jay-Z. We was talking about sports. Same thing with Jay-Z when people came after Jay-Z and all that for his involvement with the NFL a year or two after Colin Kaepernick. So it's the same thing. It's like, what more do you want people like him or like Deion Sanders in that position? What more do you want them to do?
He went 27-5 in 3 years.
Yeah.
He won SWAC Coach of the Year twice, I think. He'll be at the Celebration Bowl here in Atlanta in a couple of weeks. And who's to say, you never know what he has promised to Jackson State that nobody knows about.
No.
Hey, I'm going to make sure this Geico money or this is set up in Jackson State's name as Deion Sanders, the multimillionaire former athlete that goes directly to Jackson State.
Yeah.
Their president posted a press release today thanking him for all that he has done for Jackson State University.
There you go.
I don't know what y'all want. I don't know what y'all want.
Well, hey, let's do this because we do have a caller on the line. Okay. We have CVR Executive Director Darryl Woods on the line, and there's this initiative going on right now called Coaches versus Racism, and there is going to be a second annual HBCU Round Ball Classic. Let's see if we have Darryl Woods on the line. Darryl, you there?
I am here.
Hey, what's going on? You got me and Rashan Ali in the studio. Good day, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, I called the other number, and I was enjoying for the last minute and a half you guys talking about Deion.
Yes, we're talking. Yeah, Coach Prime.
Yeah.
Coach Prime.
Yeah.
Coach Prime.
What are your thoughts, real quick?
I mean, again, what you guys are saying, no one knows what his end goal is, and me myself, just for selfish reasons, I'm like, well, hey, let Deion stay and keep building, You know, I mean, this is the first time at HBCU has had a coach at that level with that type of exposure, being able to bring the national attention that he's bringing. So I had a conversation with someone saying, hey, if Jackson State had $30 million, they should give it to him. But I know they don't.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think he stays. But at the same time, you know, I can't be mad at him because, you know, he has to survive too, as an individual, as a person, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree.
But, you know, tough decision.
It is. And I didn't want it to happen. I promise you I didn't want it to happen. But then I had a great conversation with my brother who played football at Tennessee State, professional. I mean, you know, he's into computers and all that stuff. But we had a great conversation. And my dad is a former legendary high school football coach here in Decatur, Georgia, Buck Godfrey. So, you know, we have candid conversations about black coaching and football and all of that. And one thing that Deion said that I really admired was you either you elevate or you terminate. And so, I experienced that firsthand with my dad, who, quote, air quotes, retired from Southwest DeKalb, but, you know, they pushed him out. You know, I mean, a lot of people, you know, he was pushed out. And once these coaches have done all that they can do in a certain space, like they did that to Eddie Robinson, they did that to Coach Bowden out at Florida State. Like, you get pushed out at a certain time. So, 3 years in, it was a short amount of time, but, you know, I understand what he's saying in that regard. So, you know, this could be, you know, conversational fodder for months and months to come. So, it's very good conversation piece, but it's a lot of good perspectives that I'm hearing. Yeah. Some are negative, but that goes with the territory. Oh, it does. It does.
You know, but, you know, you kind of pay attention to the positive and try to build. That's kind of how I look at things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Darryl Woods, I want to bring you back on the mental space real soon because I know you got to go too, but you have this second annual HBCU Round Ball Classic. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about it real quick?
Sure. So this is our second annual. Last year was our first year. We had University of Michigan playing Prairie View A&M in the nation's capital, D.C. Great success there. We decided to do more teams this year. So we have 6 teams. The first game is December 13th. University of Houston is going to play North Carolina A&T at University of Houston. And then we have a doubleheader that same week, Saturday the 17th, where Texas Tech is going to play Jackson. Speaking of Deion, Jackson State. And Prairie View is going to play University of Montana with my guy Travis DeCure. So those are the games. And then, of course, just like last year, there's a couple things that we're putting together that's centered around the game. Last year we had a tour. Most of those kids have not been to the African American Museum, Smithsonian, so we did the team tour there. Had a coaches symposium, a panel with John Carlos, ex-NBA player, the guys from Long Talk. So some of the similar things this year. We want to, although it's a game, that's what brings everyone together, but we want to make sure that the importance of the game and the platform, we use that as well to hear other voices in social justice.
I love it. Well, keep us posted. Darryl Woods, we definitely want to have you come back on the mental space. Keep us posted on the HBCU Round Ball Classic. I know it's going to be something amazing. And me and Rashan, we were just talking about it offline. It's been a very interesting but yet amazing week for HBCU, and that's why we had to do this show tonight.
Absolutely.
Right. And I told our PR president, look, I love the title of the show. What I would like to do is have a conversation. Although we're putting on games here, but we also have a section in CVR, Coaches versus Racism, where we do emotional fitness.
Ooh, that's good.
And what we do, we talk about how to identify, student athletes and professional athletes before they get to that breaking point.
Before they get to the Antonio Browns of the world. No, I'm not trying to shade them, but we see it. We see it. I mean,
it's legit.
Yeah, anybody that knows anything about anxiety, depression, and all that, we see it playing out with him.
Yeah, no question, all day long.
Yep.
But what happens sometimes soon, I know I got to go, you guys got to go, but what happens, it gets overlooked by the things that they're doing on the court and on the field.
Yep.
And no one wants to touch that.
Because they need them to produce.
They need them to produce, but again, this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. Our group is very passionate about. I'd love to have an opportunity to talk to you guys about that, because it's a very important topic, and we're in that space to be able to try to help, our community in that arena. So
awesome. HBCU Round Bar Classic on December 13th and the 17th. Website for more information.
www.coachesversusracism.org. You can get your tickets there, shop, the whole nine. So come on, support, and hope to see you there.
All right, Darryl Woods, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, sir, for chiming in on the convo.
Thank you, Mr. Woods.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciate you.
Appreciate you. So before you go, Rashan, I got to ask you this question, all right? We recently had Kiana Dancy on the mental space.
All right.
Sister Circle. Yes. We asked her, is being on the Sister Circle show with you and a host of others, has it been therapeutic to her? And I'm going to let you hear her response.
Okay.
Was it like therapy to you? Was it therapeutic to be on the show among your female peers?
Yes, it was therapeutic. It was enlightening. It was empowering. I felt supported. I definitely, I have no complaints. I think my experience there taught me a lot about myself and also about other women, because I didn't grow up with sisters, so I am happy that I had that experience. But some things are there. You're there for a reason and a season, and I lived out my season and even my reason, honestly. So I didn't go. I did the first season. I wasn't going on to the second season. So it is what it is. I had a beautiful time there and an amazing experience.
Yeah, and getting the opportunity to work with a lot of big name people, including Rashan Ali.
Yes, Rashan Ali, Selena Johnson, Quad from Married to Medicine. It was, we worked with Trina Braxton. There was so many people there that I knew on and off air. So it was a great opportunity for me to leverage relationships and, deepen relationships that I already had.
Yeah. So I had somebody ask me, Sean, when is that show coming back? I'm like, I don't know. You have to ask Kiana.
Unfortunately, the show was not renewed for a third season. I did the first season, and I was replacing second. And then the third, it was canceled before the third season was renewed. It was very unfortunate because it was monumental to have 4 beautiful Black educated women with very diverse backgrounds sit on a national syndicated talk show every day with different opinions, from different perspectives of life. It was monumental. And it was unfortunate that Tegna, the production company, did not see it worth, or I don't know why they was not renewed, but oftentimes it boils down to the numbers. And unfortunately, the numbers wasn't there to get it renewed for Thursday.
So 2-part question, Rashan Ali, after hearing that. Was it therapeutic to you too? Was the Sister Circle show therapeutic to you as well? And the second question is, when people listen and watch the Cool Soror Podcast, can they catch a little bit of Sister Circle on the podcast? Let's say you.
Well, yeah, the show was therapeutic for me. I was able to see myself in a different way, much like Kiana said, you start to see things in yourself that you probably never noticed before. So when the camera's on you every day, you start to see your insecurities, you start to see your strengths and your weaknesses and things like that. So Sister Circle, while it was great for me professionally, it was probably even greater for me personally. Knowing how to work with other women, and also knowing when it was my turn to produce my own show, what I would tolerate and what I would not tolerate. And how I would move in my space as the host of my own show and having my own production company, how I would move. So you have to learn from those experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I enjoyed, just much like, again, we had a great thing going. It was beautiful to have those perspectives from 4 different women. I gained lifelong friends. I still talk to everybody on the show. I am closer to some than others, but that's just life. I love Sister Circle because it allowed me, again, to see myself. And I started therapy during Sister Circle, which was great. So, I'm glad that the universe gave me that opportunity because I am better for it.
Yeah.
Like as a woman and as a talent, but literally as a total woman, it helped me in that regard. So I'm grateful. Will you see some of that
on the Cool?
I think I'm even more real than I was on that show because first of all, it's my show, and I get to do what I want. I don't have to share interviews or anything like that. And not that that was a bad thing, but I am better sitting down with someone when I control the microphone myself. That's why, I've had opportunities to be people's co-host, even in Atlanta radio. And once you understand who you are and what you will and won't do, I have said no to several opportunities just because I don't want to be anybody's co-host ever. Unless it's like GMA and I'm making a whole bunch of money. But even with that, like I've gotten so used to doing my own thing that I just don't, I don't want to do that anymore. And once you know, my mama used to always say, once you know that you know that you know that you know, then you know. Like I know that I don't ever want to do that.
Yeah, I think, Rashan, let me just say this. I think we could be cousins or something because let me tell you, 2002, I had to share a show.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my show.
Right.
I had to share a show.
Of course.
And there were times where I was like, man, I wish I had my own show.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I left and went on to another station, I was in full creative mode. I had 100% creative control over everything.
Everything. And so do I. Nobody can tell me how to do my show.
Yeah.
And nobody can tell me what to say, what not to say, what's going to be good in corporate. And corporate, they're not going to like that. Well, this is it. And once you understand who you are, like really being authentically who you are, and I had to get to that space. I wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
But I, through therapy, through God, and Rashan, embracing all of who she is. The one that can be on the sideline, the one that could be a mom and a wife and a good friend, and the one that could, go on social healing retreats, spiritual healing retreats, and all of who she is, accepting all facets of who I am. That's when everything changed. And I can say with full confidence that I am better for that. And you got to brag on yourself. You got to be okay with being okay, knowing that you are good at what you do. And walking in that space like you are the best person to do it. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe that you are uniquely who you are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Not that you're better than anyone else. So let me take the best person, but I'm the best person for me and for what I do in the space that I'm in. And once I believe that, the whole world opened up for me.
I love it. Yeah, East Side, all day. Hey, Rashan Ali, congratulations, much success to all the things, to everything you're doing. The Cool Soror Podcast. How can people watch it, listen to it, all that great stuff?
Just go to coolsoror.com. Everything is right there for you to follow us on YouTube. We have a nice following on Instagram as well. It's at Cool Soror. We're everywhere. So coolsoror.com. You can check me out at Rashan Ali. Or RashanAli.com. But RashanAli.com has everything on it, and so does Cool Soror. So please check us out.
And you was in a Christmas movie, by the way, just FYI.
Long time ago. I
got to go out and watch because it's the holiday season now.
Yeah, I love it because those checks come in. I was with Omari Hardwick before he even did Power. Yeah, we did that movie. But I'm also part of Tyler Perry's All the Queen's Men on BET Plus, so I get my little act on. Not little. No. Yeah, so I do that, and I'm excited to be a part of that family as well. So that's my family. So check it out on BET Plus.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Rashan Ali, another radio legend in the studio. I'm talking about. Listen, I told people that we're going out of 2022 with a bang. This year has been a great year for the mental space. We had the Mike and Carol Roberts reunion in the studio.
That's fantastic.
We had Melissa Summers in the studio.
Oh, you had all the legends.
Monica Pearson.
Oh, yes.
Portia Bruner.
Come on.
You. Kiana Dancing. Oh, my goodness.
Doing your thing, man.
Hey, it's more to come. More to come.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Rashan Ali, for all that you do.
Thanks for having me.
All right, it's The Mental Space with Sean Garvey. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Eastside. It's Eastside Atlanta. It's Decatur, Atlanta.
Eastside Atlanta is not Decatur.
I'm just saying, they did the song.
East Atlanta is not Decatur.
News and Talk 1380 WAOK, an Odyssey station.